In the early 1970s, the United States and the United Kingdom started working together on a project that would eventually become the AV8B. The goal was to fix the operational problems of the first-generation Hawker Siddeley Harrier. Early efforts focused on making a Pegasus engine that was bigger and more powerful so that the Harrier could do a lot more. In 1975, the UK gave up on the project because it didn't have enough money. After the UK pulled out, McDonnell Douglas changed the AV8A Harrier in a lot of ways to make the AV8B. The plane is mostly the same as its predecessor, but it has a new, bigger composite wing with an extra hardpoint on each side, a higher cockpit, a redesigned fuselage, and other structural and aerodynamic improvements. A newer version of the Pegasus engine drives the plane. The first flight of the AV8B was in November 1981, and the USNC started using it in January 1985. Later upgrades gave it the ability to attack at night and a radar, making the AV8B an AV8B Harrier 2 Plus. A bigger version called Harrier II was also looked at, but it was not made. In 1981, British Aerospace brought the UK back into the project to improve the Harrier as a partner. This gave the UK a large amount of work on the project. Since the 1990s, when companies merged, Boeing and BAE Systems have worked together to support the program. In a 22-year production program that ended in 2003, about 340 planes were made. Most of the time, AV8Bs are flown from small aircraft carriers, large amphibious assault ships, or simply forward operating bases. They have taken part in a wide range of military and humanitarian missions and have proven to be useful in many ways. General Norman Schwarzkopf of the U.S. Army said that the USNT Harrier II was an important weapon in the Gulf War. It has also been used in the Iraq War since 2003, Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan since 2001, and Operation Odyssey Dawn in Libya in 2011. Harrier IIs from Italy and Spain have taken part in wars overseas as part of NATO coalitions. During the time it has been in service, the AV8B has had a lot of accidents. This is because it spends a lot of time in the critical takeoff and landing phases. The Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning I is replacing the USNC's AV8Bs and the Italian Navy's AV8Bs. The USMC plans to use its Harriers until 2025. In December 1973, an American and British team worked together to finish a project document that explained how the Pegasus 15 engine would work in an improved Harrier. The original RAF and USNC Harriers, as well as the A4 Skyhawk used by the USMC, were supposed to be replaced by the new Harrier. The advanced Harrier's goal was to double the AV8's payload and range. It was unofficially called the AV16 because of this. In March 1975, the British government pulled out of the project because defense spending was going down, costs were going up, and the RAF didn't need more than 60 planes. The cost of development was estimated to be between £180 million and £200 million in British pounds in 1974. The US did not want to pay for development on its own, so it ended the project later that year. Even though the project was cancelled, the two companies kept working on different ways to improve the Harrier. Hawker Siddeley worked on a new, bigger wing that could be added to already working planes. McDonnell Douglas, on the other hand, worked on a less ambitious but still expensive project for the U.S. military. Using what they learned from making the AV-16, McDonnell Douglas kept the basic structure and engine for an aircraft that was made for the USMC, but they got rid of some things, like the larger Pegasus engine. The AV8B Harrier II is a subsonic attack plane made of metal and composites. It has the same basic design as the Hawker Siddeley Harrier, with horizontal stabilizers and wings with a lot of anhedral that are mounted on the shoulder downward slope. The plane is powered by a single Rolls-Royce Pegasus turbofan engine, which has 2 intakes and 4 synchronized vectorizable nozzles close to its turbine. 2 of these nozzles are near the front, the cooler part of the engine, and the other 2 are near the back, the hotter part. This is different from most fixed-wing planes, which only have engine nozzles at the back. The Harrier II also has smaller valve-controlled nozzles in the nose, tail, and tips of the wings to help it stay in control at low speeds. The AV8B has one centerline fuselage hardpoint and 6 wing hardpoints, which is more than the original Harrier's 4 wing hardpoints. It also has 2 fuselage stations for a 25mm GAU-12 cannon and a pack of ammunition. It can carry a total of 4,200 kilos of weapons, like air-to-air, air-to-surface, and anti-ship missiles, as well as unguided and guided bombs, thanks to these hardpoints. The plane can hold 3,400 kilos of fuel, which is 50% more than its predecessor. Hardpoint-compatible external drop tanks can be used to carry fuel. This gives the plane a maximum ferry range of 2,100 miles, 3,300 kilometers, and a combat radius of 300 miles. The probe and drogue system can also be used to add fuel to the AV8B while it is in the air. The British Aerospace Harrier II uses different avionics and has an extra missile pylon on each wing. It is a version made for the RAF. For the AV8B, McDonnell Douglas redesigned the Harrier's entire airframe, making many changes to its structure and how it moves through the air. McDonnell Douglas raised the cockpit by 10.5 inches and changed the canopy to improve visibility and make more room for the crew and avionics gear. This made it easier to see ahead, 17 degrees down, and to the side, 60 degrees, and in the back. The front fuselage is made of molded skin with an epoxy-based core that is sandwiched between 2 sheets of carbon fiber. To make up for the changes to the front fuselage, the back fuselage was made 18 inches longer, and the Sea Harrier's taller vertical stabilizer was used. Composites are used to make the tail assembly so that it can be made lighter. The goal was to make the wing work, as well as the now canceled AV16, while keeping the AV8A's Pegasus engine. This was one of the most thorough changes. Engineers made a new one-piece supercritical wing that improves cruise performance by delaying the rise in drag and increasing the lift-to-drag ratio. The wing is made of composites and is wider and thicker than that of the AV8A. Compared to the AV8A's wing, this one has a higher aspect ratio, a lower sweep angle from 40 degrees to 37 degrees, and a larger area, 230 square feet instead of 18.6 square meters, 21.4 square meters. The wing has a high lift design, with flaps that automatically open when turning and ailerons that are bent down. Using the leading edge root extensions, the wing allows for a 3,035 kilograms increase in payload after a 1,000-foot takeoff roll compared to the first-generation Harriers. Because almost all of the wing is made of composite materials, it is 330 ohms lighter than the smaller wing on the AV8A. That's it for today, guys. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to get the latest update about the fresh and interesting content we keep on posting. See you in the next video.